psychologically, physically, just that montage there, a double whammy montage, back-to-back Flavor Flav. Who do you like better, Tennessee? Flavor Flav or Faber Fabe? I like Faber Fabe.
Faber Fabe.
What do you think of Faber Fabe?
It's pretty good.
That's a nickname I just came up with.
I like it.
I hope it sticks. I think it's one of those kind of out of the box thinking, out of the penalty box thinking, hey-oh, West, where we cut our teeth, as you know.
And then in warm-up, you can come out with a big clock necklace.
Is that what he does?
Yeah.
Faber Fabe. One more time. I love the it's funny. I like that we updated the montage music from 1982, and that's on me. I'm not blaming you. You know that well. Common wants something from the 80s at most, if not 70s. But those got to be like 90s for sure, aren't they?
They're past 90s.
Oh, good. Well, they
One More Time's been that's Daft Punk.
Oh, Daft Punk's the guy that
to get lucky.
I'm up all night to get lucky. I'm up all night I'm up all night to watch hockey. I'm up all night to watch games go on. We don't have another. The Wolves are a 9:30 start.
9:30 tonight.
What time is? Please tell me the Wild's not 9:30.
Well, the Wild's not playing tonight. They're playing tomorrow, and it's at 7.
Yeah, 7. There you go. So then it's not, I'm up all night to watch hockey. I'm up. You don't have to be up all night to watch hockey.
But then they also play Thursday, but we don't know the time of that game yet.
That might be, I'm up all night to watch hockey. I'm up all night to watch hockey.
Especially when you're going to overtime and double overtime all the time.
You are getting, well, you know what? If we're to win this series, you could already say we've already played 6 games. It's kind of the equivalent, isn't it? I mean, we've literally played the equivalent of 6 games in 4 because of all the OTs. All sorts of people are responding to the montage, and I don't see it. Generally speaking, there's always a negative out there. You know, there's always a wet blanket
detractor.
Detractor, critic, someone that's just never happy. A quick scan of the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line, nothing but positivity on the montage, and I get it too because. A double montage, 6+ minutes. For some, they're going to say, but what about the Wheel of Topic? Others are going to say, thank gosh, there's no Wheel of Topic. You know, this is a polarizing show. I know that. You think I don't? Think I can't, think I shouldn't, think I wouldn't? I understand that let's just say, I think most people, it's an acquired taste. Robbie Robertson, who played in the band, did a song one time that said...
Which band?
Well, he actually did play in the band. Well,
I mean, there's lots of bands out there. Well, you got to be a little more specific than he played in the band. He played in the band.
Maybe he played in the band.
Yeah, which band?
The band. That's the name of the band. The band.
Guess who? Is that what you want me to do?
No, I don't want you guessing. If you don't know, you don't know. You don't need to guess. I just told you. So, and we played this song before. We played at Somewhere Down That Crazy River. We've played it before, and I think you rolled your eyes, shrugged your shoulder. I think most people don't like it. I think I might be the only one that does. But he says, one of the lines is, he says to the guy, he goes, I like it. It feels good. And he goes, you'll like it now. You'll learn to love it later. And I'm loving the montage, the double whammy. And just like the show, you'll dislike it now, but you'll learn to tolerate it later.
It's not often we get back-to-back positive montages in this town.
We're going to take a break and come back. We got Peek at the Purple. We wrap up the National Football League draft for 2026. The only more preposterous than mock drafts are grading the drafts, the real draft, a day after the draft, but we'll do that probably as well. We'll make fun of it anyways. And then there's much to get to. The Wild, the Wolves, kind of some bad news on the Wolves front, obviously, with the 2 injuries, but there's plenty to get to. And the Twins. If you can't be historically good, then let's be biblically bad, and we're approaching that as we've lost, I think, 7 of 8 or 8 of 9. We'll break. We'll come back. Tennessee has a keyword for us here on the Common Man program on The Fan.
The Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword rich at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. The keyword is rich. Enter now at KFAN.com. Hey, want to chime in on what's happening with your favorite KFAN program? Make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryant text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
Trouble 13-14 pastime common. East Tennessee. We are here until 3. It's time now for Peek at the Purple. It's brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. If your breakers are, wow, man, they're tripping, lights are flickering, or your home still has an older electrical panel, might be time for an upgrade. Affordable Electric is taking $500. Yes, that's right. You heard right. $500 off service panel upgrades. You got that right. $500 off service panel upgrades. And you may qualify for, but wait, there's more. And you may qualify for utility rebates as well. Eligibility requirements apply. Call, text, spend, save, flaunt. 612-331-VOLT. 612-331-VOLT or visit affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com. Let's see how quickly I can make the transition. What I will tell you is they are, oh boy, affordable. They are shockingly affordable is what they are. Tend to be the only thing more preposterous than mock drafts are grading the regular draft once the draft is over. But on the mocks, you know, we did the mock draft on Thursday. By all accounts from the people that reached out to me, they thought it might have been the best we've ever had. And that's saying a lot because we've had some pretty good mock drafts.
They get better and better every year.
They do. Yeah. I think people start to get in the flow and get the bit and realize that we like a lot of callbacks. We love the nonstop nonsense.
Rows and rips.
Yes. We love the nonstop nonsense, the tomfoolery, as well as the skullduggery. But I did a little research, Tennessee, and let me find this quickly because I think you're going to enjoy this. I asked Grok AI. I said, did any of the NFL draft experts nail the mock drafts? Here's what it said. No. I asked just if they got the first 5. And think about the first 5, you also got the free bingo card. Because you knew Mendoza. Everybody got that one right. We knew Mendoza. You actually just get 4-4. Here's what Grok said. Nope. None of the major NFL draft experts or prominent mock drafts correctly predicted the exact order of the first 5 picks in the 2026 NFL draft. Case closed. And I've said before, it's harmless, right? No one gets hurt by it. It's fun, but it's meaningless. It's what's it called? Brain can't. It doesn't stimulate me intellectually. That's like Wordle. Did I tell you? I'm about done with Wordle.
Why?
Because it's too simple for me now. I went from not being able to do. Now it's too easy. It's just like I look at it and I go, well, that's not hard. Once you have a system, it's really simple to, especially when you use E and A in every single first word. I never use the same first word. I use E and A. And then when those aren't in it, well, then it becomes really simple because, as I think I said this last week, U, I, O, and Y before E, except times sometimes by Y. It just, it really makes it even that much more simpler. Now, I did notice when I played Wordle, there is an option that said, I think they even realize I'm really smart because they go, would you like to make it more difficult? So you can.
There's a more difficult level.
There's a more difficult. Maybe they haven't notified
I didn't know
you.
That.
Well, because they didn't notify you of that because they know by your performance that you're struggling. Me, I've come full. I mean, I went from not being able to do it at all to hating it to now I might be the Wordle's best Wordle player or the world's best.
Maybe I'm just already on the highest level.
Well, I could be.
Yeah.
Maybe you are. But it doesn't stimulate me intellectually, nor do mock drafts or grading the drafts. All in all, Tennessee, and again, here's another one. The grading of the drafts, Pete Prisco for CBS. I love doing the CBS sports stuff. He's almost like, well, I didn't like that pick. And I go, Pete, we're happy for you, but Pete, you don't know any more than any. I do trust the talent evaluators that really do it for a living, not just put mock drafts together for clickbait. I'm talking about guys that livelihoods are at stake. If we blow this draft or the next draft, we're going to be like Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, and we're not going to have a job anymore, right? Now, they missed too, as we saw with Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah and other, it's impossible. There are always first-round busts, second-round busts, thirds, fourths, fifths, sixths, sevenths. There's also guys that Tom Brady, 6th-round draft pick. He's a Hall of Famer. He might be GOAT, right? Joe Montana was a 3rd-round pick. John Randall was an undrafted free agent, is in the Hall of Fame. So it goes both ways. It runs the gamut. But they went all defense for the most part, right? I mean, were the first 4 picks defense? I know 4 of their picks were defense. They went with a linebacker.
When did they take the tackle?
Their first pick.
Yes, first 3 picks were defense. Okay. And then the first compensatory pick was an offensive tackle.
Their first pick was Caleb Walking Boot Banks.
Yes.
And here's the question for Walking Boot Banks. Will he spend more time in the offensive backfield of the opponent's offense, or will he spend more time in a walking boot? That's going to be the question. You know what? Hopefully he'll be in the backfield, sacking quarterbacks, stuffing the run, doing all the things he needs to do to make himself really good. It seems like it's a polarizing pick, much like the Common Man program. There are people that are like, it's worth the risk. The guy's a game changer. The word that I find right next to him or used to describe him is unicorn, because apparently he's very Clark Kent-like, very Superman-like. For a guy his size, he can leap tall buildings with a single bound. He has a wingspan like Megatron, and he's not even a wide receiver. He can do a lot of different things, and that if and when he is healthy, he's a hell of a player. He is a game changer. He is a very disruptive force. And boy, could we use that on the defensive line, particularly in the interior. We haven't had a really good interior lineman in a while that I can recall. Maybe there's one I'm missing and you can tell me. But in the last few years, it seems like that's been kind of a weak spot for us. It'd be nice to have a guy like that in the middle. So I understand why they went that direction. There was the rap on the purple was, well, because of 2, not 1, but 2 metatarsal injuries in his, I think both in the left foot, right foot, whatever it is. You put your left foot in, you take your right foot out. There's question marks there. You know, can he stay healthy? And those are fair, right? So, and there were those that even said, and because of that, other teams are shying away from him, and that you might have been able to get him in the second round. And so you didn't need to use your first round pick for that. Though, if you believe the positives about him, that he could be a unicorn, well, then you really think this is your guy, and this is the best player on the board. We got to have him. He's going to change our team defensively. He's going to lead us to the promised land, to a big game. Then I guess you can't take the chance of him dropping further. So, and again, so the grade on him to me is incomplete. I don't mind them making that move, though. I really don't. Sometimes you just have to take a chance. As Abba said, take a chance on me.
But to your original point, mock drafts are pointless.
Correct.
They're never right. And then they end up all doing grades based off of their mock drafts, right? Like, these guys were predicted to go lower in our mock drafts, therefore that's a bad pick. I'm going to give that pick a D.
Yeah.
Right? It's just based off of consensus, and none of that means anything.
Well, that's what they did the same thing with Detroit. Detroit took, I don't remember the kid's name, was it Steve Miller from the Steve Miller Band? Is some guy they took an offensive lineman with their first pick. And they're up there going, oh, that's a terrible pick. How could you do that? We didn't have that high on our board. Well, maybe they see, now it could end up being a terrible pick.
But even when they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, people thought that's way too high to be taking a running back. That's a stretch.
And now running backs are being compared to him. He's Jahmyr Gibbs-like. Matter of fact, the kid that went number 3 overall, they said he's Jahmyr Gibbs-like. So you're right. So I just like to let it play out. That's why, to me, the drafts are harmless. The draft itself is, I don't want to say it's anticlimactic, but because we don't know what we don't know, we'll find out more once we get to OTAs, mini camps, and even then we won't know much. It's like to go for spring game, raving about the offense. Well, is it because our offense is really good, or is the defense really bad? That's what we don't know. But anyway, Peek at the Purple, brought to you by our friends at Affordable. We'll get more into the draft too as the days go by, maybe even more today. Brought to you by Affordable Electric. For all of your electrical needs, it's affordable-electric.com. Short break, come back. Purple Pray. No, that's right. No more Purple Pray for a year. Could we just play the open anyway? We'll talk a little hockey, a little basketball, and more here on the Common Man program on the Fan.
It's almost here. Join the Power Trip Morning Show up at Grandview Lodge this Thursday and Friday. Don't miss out on your shot to win great prizes, including a custom KFAN and Grandview co-branded golf bag, a tailor-made driver, and more. Oh, and did we mention a 2-night stay at Grandview with food, golf, and a massage at their spa? Get all the details now at KFAN.com/Grandview.
Question for you, Tenneby.
Yeah.
Do you think the response will be more delirious? How do I phrase this? You saw the delirious response of the fans when the Wild scored the game winner in OT.
Sure.
At the slot machine, right? Send it to tie the series at 2 games apiece, stave off what would possibly be an almost impossible road to get out of the first round, having to win 3 in a row. Can that be matched by the delirious reaction? Those in attendance to the Power Trip Morning Show Thursday initials game up at Grandview B, which will be louder.
I mean, the Power Trip will have a bigger crowd.
That's what I think.
So I think that alone.
As a matter of fact, I asked Zacho a little B today when I was doing free show. I said, I'll be there Thursday. I plan to attend the Power Trip Morning Show's playing of the initial game. And I said, well, I have to get there early, like at 2 or 3 in the afternoon to get in line. I mean, how long will that line be? Right? And they said I might be, because I'm an employee, I might be able to pistol whip my way past the line and in. And you know what? I'm not above taking advantage of my lot in life, so I might do that. But we will be there this weekend. You know what I heard? That Caleb Walking Boot Banks is considered to be such a unicorn that the Vikings are going to only have 1 horn on his helmet. Just one. The Steelers only have their logo on one side. Vikings saying there's be 1 horn on the side of his helmet because he's considered a unicorn. I was watching the game with Deuce, the Wild game, on Saturday night. It was a 4:30 start, which was, isn't that crazy? You know, on the weekends when, hey, got time to sleep in, no 9:30 start. They start 4:30 in the afternoon. And I know they do it for national TV, but it's just crazy how that works out. The night games are 9:30 during the weeknight. And then Saturday, when everybody can sleep in, they start the game at 4:30 in the afternoon.
Huh?
But we had a reservation at Hazelwood for dinner, too. So we had to leave to go to dinner. We get to Hazelwood, and they seat us in the restaurant area. And the booth, one side of the booth is facing the TVs in the bar. The other one is the other direction, right? And I sat with my back to the TVs, not because I don't care, because I couldn't take the tension. I just didn't even think I would lose my appetite. I wouldn't be able to. You know how when you're really excited about something, you lose your appetite a little bit, you're not hungry? That was where I was. And so when I knew the reaction when the crowd roared, but then they groaned because the goal got waved off. Who was it that?
It was Boldy.
Boldy, did he kick it in? Did he kick or was handed?
Very obvious kick, yeah.
Yeah, he kicked it in. Was there also, which game was it? Did this game already happen, or was this the same game where we saved a goal by somebody reached in and pulled it out of the blue line, one of the Wild players? I mean, out of the goalie box. And now that's supposed to be a penalty if they see it, right? Is that correct? Or is it not a penalty? They just, what do they do?
You are allowed to hit it with your hand, like bat it, but you're not allowed to put your hand on top of it.
Okay.
I think in that scenario, you could argue he put his hand on top of it, but a lot of times it's just it's massive scrums and refs can't necessarily see all that.
If they would have seen it, what is it, a 2-minute penalty or what do they do? Do you know what the rule is on that?
I think it would have been a penalty shot.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Well, good thing that didn't happen. Wild win, and I got to admit, Tenneby, and maybe some of that, well, that's what happens in Minnesota sports, does seep into me. I don't like to believe it does, because you know my theory about, well, just because this has happened forever and ever doesn't mean, or just because this has never happened forever and ever doesn't mean it can't or won't. But I just felt like, Dallas is going to steal this. I thought we were going to lose in regulation, and then we score.
Sure.
How much time was left when we...
5 minutes?
5 minutes. We get the game-tying goal. And then in OT... We had it kicked into the net. The crowd roared, but it was obvious. I saw the replay. I spun my head around to look at the replay. It was obvious that he kicked it in. But then we win the game with under a minute to go in the first overtime, and it just changes everything. I mean, look, it doesn't take a rock. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know or what the listeners already know. You lose that game down 3-1. You could do it. Wild did it back in 2003. They won 2 series when they were down 3-1. But chances are against a quality team like Dallas, it's going to be really hard to win 3 in a row. So now it's even Steven, as we like to say, tied at 2 games apiece. Now, I brought this question up to Zacho and Chad Abbott when I was doing Free Show. And they disagreed with me. I'm always in the minority. I'm always, I said, I've only watched both these teams play 4 games this year. The 4 games that they've played. I've not watched any Wild hockey or any. I watched the Wild when I went to a game against Tampa Bay with Deuce, went to the iHeart Suite. So I guess that's wrong. I did watch some Wild hockey. But this is the first time I've really settled in. So I've seen all 4 games, and I think most of all 4 games. I still feel like top to bottom, Dallas might be a bit better. And then they push back on that. So 5-on-5, but I'm like, but it's like football, offense, defense, special teams. There's 3 things. There's your 5-on-5. You can even say there's 4. There's 5-on-5. There's power play and PK and goaltending. And I just think Dallas, and this doesn't mean the Wild won't win, and I'm probably going to get ripped by people, and they're done with me. I just think Dallas might be, I mean, it's so close. It's like Zach said, he goes, well, 2 games went to overtime. We're tied at 2-2. You can't get any closer to that. And I do think that they're really close, but I would say if you have to pick which team do you think is better overall top to bottom, I'd say Dallas, but only by a hair. Would you agree with that, or would you, are you going to Jolly Green Giant, and say you think it's the Wild?
I went into this series saying it's a coin flip series.
Yep.
I literally think it's just 2 even teams. Now they both have strengths and weaknesses that are slightly different than each other.
What's their weakness? The 5-on-5?
Dallas?
Yeah, because I don't see one with them.
I think they've scored 3 goals 5-on-5 in the entire series.
Okay.
Well, I don't think either team has a ton of weaknesses. I think they're 2 of the 4 or 5 best teams in all hockey. So there's 2 heavyweights going at it. And I know on sports talk radio, you're supposed to have big opinions, but if you ask me who's going to win game 5, I'd say, well, let me flip a coin. If you ask me who's going to win the series right now, I'd say, well, let me flip a coin. Okay. I think it's that close. I heard a stat from Anthony LaPanta on his podcast. I knew Dallas's power play was good, but he said during the season, their power play was historically good. Like,
really?
11th best power play in the history of the National Hockey League. So, that does, to your point, that puts the Wild in a bit of a pickle. That even though the Wild have improved their penalty kill, you're still facing such a good power play, it might not even matter. And then when you now have to enter games going, can't take penalties, it's hard to play that way.
Right.
Now,
because you got to play aggressive.
They played that way on Saturday. They were only in the penalty box twice, and guess what? Both of them ended up in their own net. But yeah, to be able to play physical, to every once in a while, Jamie Benn's going to flop, and a penalty's going to get called, or a ref's going to miss something, or you're going to accidentally sail the puck over the boards and could delay a game. Like, it's a hard way to play when you can't take penalties, and that is kind of the spot the Wild are in now. Historically, the Stars have been so much better than the Wild at special teams, which is what happened 3 years ago, that we didn't have a chance in that series. I went into this series thinking, well, I don't think we're going to be better than their special teams, but maybe we can match their special teams. Now, right now we have him. I do think, Matt Zuccarello did practice today, and it sounds like he's going to be a go for tomorrow night. So, through the rest of the series, I don't envision a scenario in which our PK all of a sudden is shutting out Dallas's power play, and they go 0 for 12 over the next 3 games.
Because they're 8 of their goals, 8 of their 11 goals have been on the power play, I think.
But I do
8 of the 11. Is that it? That seems like an inordinate amount.
Oh no, it is. Yes. Oh, you can. Yeah, in Dallas right now, they're going, we can't score 5-on-5.
Right.
What are we going to do?
Yeah,
right. But I do think there's at least still potential for the Wild's power play to try to match Dallas's power play.
With Zook back, right?
With Zuccarello back. Now, their power plays looked awful with him out of lineup, and I don't know if one guy can just change it that dramatically, but
I get my games confused. Was it last game or the game before we had back-to-back power plays and we couldn't score?
Now, the good news is...
Was that last game? Was that just the game that was just played, or was that 2 games ago? Because there was a game where we had back-to-back power plays and we couldn't score in either one. It's like I've been a man advantage for 4 straight minutes.
Now, the good news is, since the Wild really can't take penalties in this series, historically, as playoff series move on, when you start to get into games 5, game 6, game 7s, refs start to swallow the whistle. So at least that should be a good sign moving forward that, maybe the days of Dallas having 5 power plays in a game might be coming to an end.
I'm about to say something controversial.
That's interesting.
I think Boldy is a better player than Kaprizov. Then
Kaprizov.
And now I just dragged the Kaprizov over something and reduced to okay. I don't know what it was.
I would say Boldy's been the better player this year. Boldy has reached superstar level.
Okay.
Now, in these playoffs specifically, I think Boldy's had more help because he's had Joel Eriksson Ek on his line the entire series. And Kaprizov Kaprizov put up 3 points in the first game.
He did. We won 6-1 with Zuki. We won 6-1 when we had Zuccarello.
But the last 3 games, Kirill Kaprizov has not been playing with first-line talent.
Okay.
He's been playing with Ryan Hartman, who's just probably a middle 6 forward who just happens to be our top-line center because that's not our strength. And then the last 2 games, Bobby Brink was in the press box to begin the series, and now you're throwing Bobby Brink on his line.
The season's on the brink. Because you got to play Bobby
because
Brink.
No one else can play in that spot.
Okay.
So in Kaprizov's defense, it's a little easier to key in on him when he doesn't have line mates to work on. He's also, as talented as he is, he's probably not as much as of a beat a guy one-on-one like Boldy can, right? Boldy can kind of make something out of nothing a little bit more than Kaprizov. Kaprizov is also a little bit more of what they call a power play merchant.
Right.
And without Zuccarello, and the power play has not looked good. But the funny thing is Kaprizov has been under a lot of heat from fans. I've seen it all over social media. Yet, and I'm not going to say he's played his best, but if you go to look at NHL playoff stats, he's tied for 3rd in the league in points right now.
Oh, really?
And he's like a +7 in the series.
Okay.
He hasn't been great. And I know we have high expectations for him, and he's going to be making $17 million next year. But he hasn't been bad either. He's been fine. But he doesn't have a whole lot to work with right now.
That does explain, though, the feel, though, I guess.
Sure.
Because when you're considered a top 10 player, for sure, right, in the league, and maybe some put him in the top 5, and you're about to become the highest, we are, there's a contract kick in next year, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Highest paid player in hockey. I think people, then guess what? I mean, your numbers should just be where we expect them to be, but there are extenuating circumstances. You just pointed out when you don't have Ek on the line and Zuccarella's out, and so it does make a difference. Plus, Dallas is a mighty fine team. Sometimes it gets to be playoff hockey.
And they're an elite defensive team.
Yes. So it can
I went into this series thinking all these games are going to be 2-1, 3-2 type games. And frankly, if it stays 5-on-5, it will be.
Goaltending needs to be even, right? Both players.
They've both been great.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like one has been. No. They both played very, very well.
The Vol of St. Paul has matched Jake Ottinger's been great. He made some big saves in that game, in Game 4, that kept them alive.
Now I'm going to think. This is a strategy in how you use your roster. I want to get some information because you are the most trusted name in all of hockey here in town. Let's say we were going on to win this series.
Yeah.
And does that mean we're going to play the Lance next?
Yes, we already know that because they swept the LA Kings. So by the time this series is over, whoever wins between Stars and Wild will face an Avalanche team that's had like a week off.
Yeah. Rest or rust
well,
will be the question. I guess the question I was going to ask, that won't work then. Let's just say, for instance, because my question was going to be, if in our next opponent we got out to like a 3-0 lead, then do you ever think of using Gus if you're in control? Like, let's say in this series we were up 3-1. Would you play Gus to keep him fresh and to give him a chance?
No.
Or you say, no, you stick with the same goalie all 16 games, all 16 wins if that's what has to be?
Whatever goaltender, yeah.
Okay.
The amount of criticism you would take if Gus was bad and then all of a sudden they're back in the series, and you're also taxing your other players by...
Okay.
Like, you want to get series over as quick as possible and give your players rest this time of the year because they are beat up, as Colorado's about to experience.
Sorry, Kirill's getting paid the most money of all time. The line mate argument can only go so far.
He's technically not getting that payment yet.
Well, but he knows it's coming.
No, I understand. But like I said, he hasn't been bad. He's been fine. And like I said, he's tied for 3rd in the NHL in points, and he's +7.
We need better than that. We need great. I hold the...
Well, there's still 3 games left in this series for a chance for greatness.
I hold the local athletes to the same high standard I hold myself. Says, Common is right. Boldy's a man on a mission. You might be the official, unofficial Wild hockey mind. Maybe I am. Maybe I understand.
Boldy's been great.
Yeah, he's been very
And this
good.
isn't a surprise. I mean, he's been great all year. He was great in the Olympics.
And then there's Faber-Fabe. And I like Faber Fabe. I think he's playing well too. It's fun. It's very good. And I must admit, I just had that sinking feeling that we were going to lose that game. And 3-1, I'm sorry. Yeah, Kenya, sure. But 2-2 now, it's like it's best of 3, which is beautiful. So we got that going for us, which is nice. Now, on the other side of the coin, the Wolves out to a 3-1 lead. And going into the playoffs, I thought the Wild would win their series. I said, there's no reason to be afraid of Dallas. Let them be afraid of us. And I look, at full disclosure, I'm not going to try to backpedal and pull a Rosen. I thought the Wolves would lose the series. I did. I thought their approach to the regular season wasn't any good. Ant's knee was bad, and it showed. Now his other knee's bad, but I mean, before the injury, he's still, hey, Ant at 75%, still a really good player, right? But you could tell that he just wasn't all quite there. But they've just totally taken it to Denver. And do you want to go? I wish Rosen was here so I could ask him, do we want to call him DiVincenzo or DiVincenzo today? But with DiVincenzo there wasn't even a minute gone, non-contact injury. Was it hammy?
No, Achilles.
Achilles.
Which is worse.
Yeah, right. Achilles, pop, done. He's out for not only this year, but deep into next year probably as well. Hard to come back from. And then Ant had a hyperextended knee with a bone bruise, no ligament damage. They say probably out for weeks. But then again, we don't know. Does that mean 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Could he come back and for the next series? Sometimes you eat some dirt, rub a little Robitussin on it, you're back. I know we beat Denver despite those 2 injuries. And so I think people automatically believe, well, we can eliminate Denver now. We beat them without those guys. Why can't we? And they probably will. I mean, I'm not going to pick Denver to win 3 in a row, though I think it does make it a bit more dicey without those 2. But going forward, if you don't have Ant and DiVincenzo and you got to face San Antonio, again, stranger things have happened. But man, you're talking about the 2 starters on the club now. Ayo, who, by the way, if you'll remember, was, after he was with the club about 2-3 weeks, I said he should be starting. And Barrero told me he said the same thing. And Barrero's got a great basketball mind. I told Barrero, I said, do you think Ayo should be starting? I think he should. And I said it on the air. And lo and behold, he is, I think he's the 4th player in NBA history to score 40-plus points in a playoff game coming off the bench. I mean, he was unstoppable.
Yeah.
Your mama couldn't stop him. Your daddy couldn't stop him. The police couldn't stop him. And obviously the Nuggets couldn't stop him either. And he was on fire. Now, everybody assumes that he's going to play like that all the time. And maybe he will, and I hope he does. And I don't see why not, other than we've really not seen this out of him. Though he has played well. He had 25 the game before. So maybe he just needed a chance to, take the wraps off him, because in Chicago was a different situation. Terrible team, terrible city, terrible fans. I don't think they were allowing, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he started every game in Chicago, but it doesn't seem like he got a real fair shake.
I do think this is a good matchup for him.
I think it is. Yes.
Like, he likes to be aggressive. He likes to take it to the hoop. Denver struggles defending that.
Now I'm going to say something else, controversial.
That's interesting.
And this is going to be considered wet blanket as well. Denver isn't any good defensively, and offensively they've been neutered. I was told, if this is accurate, Denver has statistically, I guess, they've been, in offensive efficiency, they've been the best team in the NBA.
Yeah.
The Wild are very good defensively, but I think part of this is too, and I'll probably get pushback here, because during the regular season, and you can believe this if you want, it's something I talk about all the time, and people probably are tired of hearing it from me, and they probably think I'm wrong, especially if you're in the basketball community. But most regular season games, teams aren't playing defense 100%. So Denver looks really good offensively because they're not getting as much pushback like they do in the playoffs. So they're just able to run up and down, and they don't even need to play defense because offensively they're so good with Murray and Gordon and Joker and et al. And Hardaway and everybody else. Is it Braun? All these guys are scoring. They're so good offensively, they don't need to play defense. So now when they're pressed to play defense, they can't play defense. And then when the Wild play defense like they are capable of, like I'm sure other teams could have done to Denver during the regular season, but didn't. So Denver's they're caught off guard. They're like, whoa. I thought our offense just kind of flowed easily, that we could do whatever we wanted. Well, no, when the other team decides, instead of just passive resistance, when they dig their heels and say, come and get us, Kappa, well, then their offense doesn't run as smooth, and they're having all sorts of trouble. And Joker's been, he's had his triple doubles, but it takes him a lot of shots to get those points. And there was one.
And they're wearing down their stars. Yeah, they're tiring them out.
Well, there was one play late in the game. And Denver kept it relatively close there. Matter of fact, I thought when both went out that Denver would blow the Wild out or the Wolves out. I thought, okay, you got Ant gone, you got DiVincenzo gone. They're going to win this game. Still close. Wolves have they had like a 4 or 6 point lead. Then it goes to 8, then it goes to 12, and the Murray character brings it across the line. He's immediately swarmed by 3 or 4 Wolves. They tap the ball away, and they got an easy layup. And then, of course, there was the brouhaha after the game. Yeah. Joker showed more hustle running down to confront McDaniel than he did on defense the entire game or the entire series. But we'll talk about the brouhaha as well and much more.
Might get to in 5 questions.
We might even do that. So is that your tease then?
That's not my tease. My tease is JG is gone.
Sure.